If having two edges doesn't actually give you more durability, what then is the point? Well, the point is partially the point. So by having two edges on the point, you can make it easier to thrust where there's less resistance, and the edges here will help slide the sword in. The other major advantage is that having two edges gives you multiple lines of attack that you don't really have with only a single edge. If you look at a lot of historical single-edged swords, you will often find that the last little bit of the sword has a false edge on it so that you can do some additional cuts from additional angles that you wouldn't be able to do with just a single edge. You find that, for example, on many historical falchions, messers. This is an example of a reverse-edged falchion. It also has a false edge here, which again will help with the thrust, but then also allows you to do cuts on both sides. One other point that I'd like to add about the two edges is when you are doing a combination of cuts, I don't have a whole lot of room, but let's say I was going to do a diagonal down cut and then a diagonal up cut on the same plane. With the Kriegsmesser, I would do my cut, I then have to turn my wrists and do the cut again. With a sword that has two edges, you can actually save a little bit of time because you don't need to turn your wrists. You can do the cut, and then without moving your hands at all, you can cut back. When I'm doing double cuts where I cut the bottom bottle and then cut the top bottle, this is one of the easiest double cuts for me to do with a two-handed sword because it's so quick. I don't have to move my wrists or anything. It's just very easy to go along the same plane. Hope that was fun to see a couple of additional swords and gave you guys some things to think about the advantages and disadvantages of a single edge versus a double edge.